Well, welcome everybody to a slightly delayed but nonetheless very exciting NLR esports event. It's round 3. We're out there in Azerbaijan for the round 3 championship of our championship, and looking forward to getting going. A lot of very frustrated and desperate to get underway drivers we have for you. Welcome to all the teams taking part and all the teammates tuning in. My name is Webbo. I'm the commentator for this championship, and look forward to hearing from you in the chat. Say hello, tell us who you're here for, unless it's obvious in your username, of course. But waiting for the first cars to get out there underway, and I'll talk you through where we see our teams after the first 2 rounds of this thrilling battle. Right now, XL Esports in the McLarens are at the top of the standings, but only by 3 points. 56 points for them, and 3 points back is Relentless Esports in the Mercedes. Unusually there, it looks like it's not Sparks out first, it's actually Gendrick for CPI. Evora are third in the Haas with 49 points after some very strong races from Sparks in particular. And then ADRT in the AlphaTauris on 38 points. The hosts NLR Esports up from 8th place after round 1 to 5th place in round 2, level with CPI on 31 points. Then we have the Elite Racing team on 30. It's very close in the middle, followed by IRT, ARC and Delta T Racing, who are at the back right now in the Williams. Elite in the Red Bulls, IRT in the Alpines and ARC in the Ferrari. We're looking forward to seeing our drivers attacking this circuit, and I'm hoping to see some good action from them, and be good to see lots of people finishing up their managing to finish the race, because all their team are watching, and there's points for qualifying and points of course for finishing positions. So we're almost underway. Welcome everybody. Hey to Ryan, who's stuck with us, and Plague Doctor, who was here very early on. The Relentless guys are here. I see Bowers is here for NLR, and Gendrick begins his flying lap with us very shortly. And as I said before, usually I give the first lap to the first person out the pits to get themselves ready. Dexter's here, welcome. Apologies if I don't get to everybody. Gendrick safely through the first 2 corners, catching a little bit of a tow from the back of his CPI teammate on the back straight there, and down to the treacherous turn 3. We should see some action into this corner further into our race, but it's all about staying out of the bottom 5 drivers. Very low grip for Gendrick with oversteer, tank slapper touching the wall with 2 side walls of his left part of the car, but still needs to get a safe banker in. Not everybody will, so it's very important. Down now into the most tricky section of the lap here. This is 8, 9, 10, 11. They come very quickly, followed by of course 12 over the crest, and safely through the castle section for Gendrick. Now it's about spotting your braking zone in the shadows. I haven't got a weather forecast actually from anybody. If you've seen one, let me know. But so far so good on dry conditions, and we slow down into the final real corner of the circuit. Although if we do get difficult driving conditions, then the next 2 corners become very, very hard indeed, and especially on severe tyre wear. But foot to the floor for Gendrick, just minimising the steering inputs all the way to the line, and he will cross the line first, of course, of 143.147. Behind him I see one of the Mercedes cars. It's not this one though. This is it Kush? I'm just learning some of the new names. So I think it was Walter for Relentless, who was just starting his next lap. Let's see if we can't get ourselves a new driver to watch. How about the IRT team with Sieb Sieb heading on through. Great to see everybody already interacting in the chat. Keep it nice, keep it friendly. AK Unleaded goes P2 momentarily, just beaten by his teammate Jackson, who is out there and gets a P3 time now. Then Rex got through for the IRT team. His teammate Sieb about to cross the line, but Rex got a 39.350, and Isaac Kush got himself a 38.837 and provisional pole so far. Sieb just a shade below, about 0.2 below that time, so doing very well indeed. And now we will join Sparks for a lap, and that's usually a good idea. So Sparks taking the left side of the track on this back straight. We'll head into turn 3. The tyre marks already starting to build up on the entry into turn 3. Wouter with a new provisional pole time here, a 38.520, 0.3. His cushion at the top. Messages coming thick and fast in every possible angle that I'm seeing at the moment, so bear with me if I don't catch everybody's messages. Sparks getting through the tunnel, confident on the entry into turn 8, and was able to carry a lot more speed through there than we saw earlier on. Sparks now over the rumble strip. I've seen a very good race from Sparks at this very track earlier this season on a different channel, and I know he's confident around here. How will he compare to the rest of the team's top tier drivers being fielded today? Obviously all the Azerbaijan specialists are with us for this one. Teams have free choice of driver as to who they select, and of course it would make sense if they select the top, the fastest in each given track. Sparks fastest in most given tracks, and let's see where he crosses the line here. It's going to be a P2, a 38.443. That's a very nice banker lap for Sparks, and closes that one out. Still to finish off a lap is his Sparks teammate for Evora and Haas. It's Lars. I'm going to just call him Lars because I know I'm going to make a mistake with that name, so apologies on that front. Who else have we got representing? We've got Dylan and Alex for NLR this week, Rafa and Samba for ERT. Webbo does not have posters of Sparks in his room. It's P9 for Lars, so quite a way off his teammate, nearly 2 seconds, so some space to find that one. I'm going to try and give everybody a little bit of screen time in this Q1 because we may lose obviously some drivers and won't see them again until the race. So let's in the McLarens here, your championship leading McLaren team, the XL team here with Gary and Dylan. 2 Dylans today just to make things extra confusing through the castle section, skimming the walls but not making contact, I don't think. Looking out for his braking zone here into the fast turn 15. Very, very narrow, very easy to get wrong. A little bit of short shifting on the way out of turn 16, and it's just flat out to the line on dry conditions here. Let's see where Gary can get his McLaren. It's good enough for P6, and it's good enough to be next to his teammate on the provisional grid so far, but this is all about who we lose from the session, so worth bearing that in mind. We'll keep an eye on the top drivers, but it's probably more important that we look at those on the bubble. Currently Michael in the Williams here, for DTR, who are currently at the back of our championship standings after 2 rounds out of 10. The boss Harley saying share the stream around, especially as we get to Q3. That would be a great time to share the stream, because that's when the points start being given out. I haven't mentioned yet on stream for any newcomers, but it's points for qualifying and points for the race for the top 10 positions. So every reason to battle, and usually our Q3s are something special in these ones. Through the final sector, a little opportunity for a toe, but doesn't risk too much, Michael, out of the final couple of corners. Ready for our line, and it's a top 4 time for Michael. Good stuff. A 38.703. Car Mentalist says the top 5 or 6 look to be in good shape for getting through already. So certainly a good call. Medium tyres for Dylan. I wonder if that was a mistake. No real advantage to putting mediums on here unless you're saving them for the race, but unless you're saving softs for the race, which you usually wouldn't very much around Baku. So Dylan then to try and set a time. He's managed to clear through this one. We haven't seen many invalidations, which is nice to see. Medium tyres, a 39.4 is very handy from Dylan, so congrats to him for that time. And Rafa and Isu are the only ones yet to set a time, and that's about to be fixed. Rafa in the Red Bull, about to cross the line for Elite. And Rafa manages a new pole position. Wow, Elite taking the front row provisionally here, and 38.1 is very good indeed. I think the track is evolving a little bit. We've got 4.5 minutes to go for our sessions. Time enough for our drivers to get out there and put on another fast lap, but a great lap out there from ERT. And interesting to see how close teammates are throughout the grid. ERT next to each other. So are the Relentless team in the Mercedes. The Excel teammates, IRT, are next to each other. NLR have just one car separating them. Brilliant stuff to see just how confident, how close the drivers are with each other, and they're really pushing hard at this stage. About to get a lap underway, under start from Mr. BT, who is just starting this lap now. We haven't watched with him, but it looks like Isu for ADRT. Isu, we've had a few issues in the past, so I think he's driving under a little bit of a cloud at the moment. So hopefully he's going to fix that for us this session. Mr. BT just in the first sector at the moment, looking slightly loose, but perhaps not. Perhaps trying to preserve tyres in the first sector. Mr. BT then putting in a good early attack. Very confident over the entry into turn 7. You can take bags of apex curb through there. Oh, very close to the castle wall, but keeps the car in the right direction. Knows his way around here. A couple of corners to close out the second sector. Oh, too much curb on apex, unsettled the car, left him very vulnerable into the wall. 0.6 of a second of an improvement so far. That would be very handy for Mr. BT and get him out of danger for this particular point in time. Through the final 17, 18th. Heading to the line then. Always a long wait to see when the drivers get their times come through. And it's good enough for P9 right now. Is that safe? A 39.0. It was the call earlier, was that a 39.0 would be safe, but we currently have a pole position of a 38.1. So that has spread the field out somewhat. Who else is out there? Let's see if Lars is able to do anything. He's currently in sector 1. think, just on an out lap, just on a cool lap at least, not pushing right now. What about AK Unleaded? 4/10 faster than he's been before. Needs that and some to get out of danger tonight, this afternoon, I think. Azerbaijan circuit, very long, very technical, and tends to spread our field out a lot. AK Unleaded then for the line. It's going to tick over to a 1:39.877. That's not going to see him out of danger, and I don't think he's going to be able to do anything now. I don't think he's got the charge left or the tyres left to do it on this lap, and then he won't get round in time. He's just going to have to get out of everybody's way. Lars will get round to start a new lap. Jendrik, is this one going to be any better for him? Doesn't look like it. We're heading into the pits. So Jendrik and AK Unleaded unlikely to make any inroads. I see Isu hasn't progressed unless he's serving a ban. I'm sure I'll get some confirmation on that one. But Isu, no time. I don't see AK Unleaded or Jendrik improving. What about Lars though? Track at its best so far in the session, and we get going here. Let's see if he can get himself out of danger. Dylan currently running just ahead of him on track. We'll see him through the first sector and then head back to Lars to see if he can get out of trouble. Through turn 3 for Dylan safely. Turn 4, nice. Some drivers leaving the session, quite happy with where they see themselves. So Dylan, good job through sector 1. Lars only 0.04 of a second quicker in sector 1 though. Let's see Dylan. He's not up by much, but he's up by enough. He's got an identical time to Ibini. He's got an identical time currently, so if he can just hang on to that tiny advantage he's picked up, and he's got loads, he's got nearly 0.4 of a second of an improvement. Looking good for Dylan to finish this one out. What about Lars? Still hanging on to that 0.6 of a second of an improvement through the middle sector alone. Terrific stuff from Lars. This could depose several drivers if they can hold on to that advantage. What about Dylan though? Dylan for NLR, can he get himself out of trouble and get NLR through to Q2? Yes, into P10 for Dylan. Great lap. But what about Lars? Where is he going to come? Lars, only up to P16, held on to that advantage he picked up before, but no difference in the final sector. Ibini is out there. He's nearly 0.3 faster than he's been before through sector 1. For DTR, DTR badly needing the points at the moment. They've got Michael up in P7, so they'll get something. Harley very pleased with Dylan's performance at the close of Q1, which is good to see. But Alex is the next one on the bubble, and even he's going faster at the moment. Where's Alex? He's just behind him on track, I think. No, he's ahead of him on track. We'll see Alex cross the line shortly. He's just over his time though. Ibini still holding on to 0.3 of a second. Alex for the line then. Can Alex get himself any further up the grid? Just up to P13, so taking himself off the potential bubble here. Ibini stretching for the line. I think this one's going to be our last attack lap of the session. Ibini, can he move up and depose Jackson? Yes, he can. So Ibini up with his teammate in P8. Beautiful lap from him. Has Jackson got anything he can say about this one? He's 0.4 up himself. It's ding dong, back and forth between the drivers here. I don't think Lars is going to get anywhere, but Jackson closing this one out. 0.4 of a second. We'll see him promoted, and we'll see potentially Alex for NLR demoted, but Jackson just having to hang on to this advantage. See, it's all about this one. And behind him should be Lars. We've had a Yuki Tsunoda join for some reason. Jackson up to P9, so a great final lap, really paying dividends to be there at the end of the session. and it looks like we're going to be losing Isu, Jendrik, AK Unleaded and Lars from our Q1. So exciting stuff, and we still haven't got to Q3 yet, so stay with us, share it while we wait between sessions. Make sure you've liked the video today, please, folks, if at all possible. And if you do enjoy the commentary, you can follow me on Twitter at WebORed5. Make sure you're also following NLR for any post-race decisions from the stewards, or and the standings will come out shortly after the race. Like I say, I can't keep up. So apparently Isu has got back in through another account, which is yeah, I did think I was a little bit unsure why he would be here, but he's here nonetheless, so hopefully he'll be doing a little bit better next time. As I say, Lars and AK Unleaded, Jendrik and Isu out of Q1. Right then, so Q1 saw Rafa for ERT, a provisional pole, and just 0.2 of a second back his teammate was Samba. Then we had Michael and Sparks, Wuta, Isakush, Sieb, Dylan, Jackson, Ebony in 10th place. Then 11th, Gary, Mr. BT, Dylan, Rex and Alex. And then we saw Lars, AK Unloaded, Jendrik and Isu sadly out of this session, but they'll return to attack our next, to make a bid for a strong race and try and pick up some points for the team. But they'll have to sit out and enjoy Q2 and Q3 with the rest of us watching along. So, who's your pick for a provisional poll? Will Sparks take up his usual place at the front of the field, or will the ERT team carry on their domination of the top performances so far? Sparks out of the circuit, and on there, Sparks has got Ryan cheering him on, which is good to see. So Evora led after race 1, led the championship after race 1, but dropped down following strong performance from other teams. Sparks is out there. We've got, I think, medium tyres on Sparks' car. He's feeling pretty good and pretty confident about this one. So medium tyres in Q2. Brave decision, although let's get a banker underway and see what we can do. Lots of support coming in for the drivers. You can see Evora team boss here. You can see commentalist for Relentless here cheering on the drivers. Relentless, both cars through. Of course, ERT, both cars excel. But yeah, we lost obviously the AlphaTauri, ADRT, and one of the Haas cars through here. The Elite Racing team looking very good after Q1, but this is a different session, and maybe the drivers are playing a little bit of gamesmanship. Maybe they're not pushing quite as hard as they intend to in Q3, building up the pace. It's important when you peak. Sparks nicely through there, perhaps slightly hesitant on the throttle on the way out. A little bit of short shifting through the turn. shorter session, this Q2. But it should be easier in terms of traffic for our drivers. Sparks picking a good turning point for the tricky turn 7. Though it's all about the castle threading through this tiny, tight section of track. Coming through then, one big stop before the end of sector 2 for Sparks. Using those curbs nicely, just shaving past the walls on the apex. So Sparks, the first car to cross the line after our restart in this Q2 session. 39.0, pretty handy for a medium tyre run. I'm not quite sure why Sparks stops on the line effectively. He's offline, so it's not a big deal. IRT P1 at 38.995. Now that's pretty tight from between IRT and Evora at the top of the standings after the first run. XL Dylan getting in the way of his teammate here, really, unless Dylan himself is on a run. He's going to run into the back of him, is Gary. That one looking a little bit hairy. He will have gained a little bit through there, although he will have potentially had to lift slightly. Izakush for Relentless, a 38.231 is fantastic. Soft tyres though for him. Gary a 38.8. I wonder how much that cost him relative to his teammate. Dylan getting in the way, and he wasn't even on a lap at the time, so a little bit of a breakdown in communication between the XL team at this early stage. XL of course leading our championship right now. Let's see, Mr. BT about to finish his lap off. Where does this one put him? P6 at 39.678 for Mr. BT. Better time from him. We know where Dylan is on track. Who else is finishing a lap? Is it Wuta or is it in fact Ebony? I can't see who's actually finishing a lap. I think Wooter's be the next one to watch, but he's invalidated unfortunately, so no good from this one. Rafa a little bit further back from the rest of the drivers. I think Ebony and Dylan will be coming through here. Dylan in front right now. Alex has gone P5 for NLR. So currently it's Izakush, Gary, Sieb, Sparks and Alex, with about half the field having put their first time in. Dylan gets a 113.7 middle sector. So Dylan stretching for the line, a P2 getting next to his teammate again. A 38.394 is where he sees himself at this stage. The ERT team are closing out their laps, although Rafa's just starting his, I think. Is Samba. Samba's got a 153, a slow lap so far, so these guys not pushing particularly hard. Maybe Rafa is though. See him, no, there's definitely a slower lap, just a charge lap on those medium tyres, getting them up to temperature. Where's Michael right now? Michael just getting through sector 1 to get his first time in. We've got 8 minutes remaining, time for maybe 2 more laps from the drivers in the pits. Unsure about the guys on laps right now. They're very long laps around here, so maximising your run capability, knowing your way around the pit lane and how long the team takes to turn your car around is another factor to play into your qualifying strategy, because you do want to be on track, just like we saw Jackson in Q1. You want to be on track, attacking the lap right at the very death of the session for the maximum track evolution. 38.231 is the fastest time so far. Michael hoping to get further up, nearer his teammate or above him as he crosses the line. A P6, it's a 39.060. for Michael. Nice lap, nice and safe at the moment. Out there, I think, just attacking laps right now is Rafa, just coming to finish off his first real attack lap. We'll see where this... Little bit slow out of the final corner. No, he's not attacking this one, unfortunately. I think we will have an Alpine. Who's that behind? Behind Rafa. It's Samba just... No, it's not Samba. Samba's on his outlap right now. What about Wouter? Wouter's just starting his lap. Let's watch with Wouter for Relentless and see if he can get anywhere near his pole-sitting teammate, Izzet Kush. Right along with the Mercedes driver. Looking pretty smooth so far. So across the apex of turn 12, flat out left-handers of 13 and 14 before finding the braking point, the turn in. Oh, that was too much apex really for Wouter, just having to sort the car out. Lucky not to end up in the wall, but Wouter crosses the second sector time just ahead of the final braking point on the lap. And we'll see where Wouter finishes this lap. The ERT boys, I think, are doing slipstreaming. They're coming out together, coordinating their runs. 38.359 for Wouter, Relentless on top of this session so far, but it's ERT who are out there coordinating their runs, giving each other a tow. It looks like Samba on track right now, Rafa on his outlap. I think Samba was waiting for that opportunity to get a bit of a tow through the second straight, the gap between turn 2 and 3 potentially. Running wide Samba, but just holding on to a valid lap through the sectors here as we go across those curbs. Much tidier apex from Samba here than we saw on Wouter's car, and Wouter's still got P2. So Samba, how much time has he kept? How much did he gain with some help from his teammate? Will he stop and back out of the throttle for his teammate in a moment? Samba, will this be good enough for the front row from the Red Bull ERT driver? Across the line, no, it's a P4 for Samba, and I think he's been waiting for a slipstream from his teammate. We've got an XL car out there right now. It's Gary just starting, just warming the car up on his warm-up lap. I think so. Rafa will be on a lap right now again, perhaps hoping for a slipstream out of the final corner from his teammate. Let's see where Rafa is at the moment here. Again, a very slow lap, the first one for him. Ryan's inspecting everybody's helmet designs and praising those who he likes best in the chat. I'm not going to be able to follow the Discord chat. I think things getting a little bit tense in there. So Rafa looking for his teammate. Is his teammate watching him on the track map? Is he going to wait for him out of the final corner? And they're going to coordinate this one. He's a long way ahead though, and I think he's going to be in the pits before he can give a tow. So it's not really working out for Rafa on this lap. Rafa then One left, one right, and a long wait to see how good your time is. All you've got to do here is point it in the right direction and beg the stopwatch to slow down for you. Heading for the line then, Rafa. And it's good enough for P5. Amazingly, so close to his teammate again. They're down in 4th and 5th, but they're almost exactly the same gaps they had in the previous one. Brilliant stuff. Gary needing to try and get on terms with his teammate. In fact, there's a handy looking McLaren just ahead here. I think they're coordinating their efforts too. This is what this is all about, is teamwork, is getting the best result for your team, even if that means helping each other through Q2. They're going to do it. Here comes Gary with a great time tow here from Dylan ahead. It's all about what the lead car is doing and how much of a advantage he can give him. Look at this, fantastic stuff. Gary right up there with his teammate now, and I can give props to his teammate for a brilliant little bit of coordination. So fantastic stuff. Isaac Kush has decided that he's safe, and he's probably correct in that estimation, right? I mean, you've got to think so. Rex then, he was nearly half a second faster than he'd been before. Can he carry that through as he crosses the line up to P6 in the Alpine for the IRT team? Rex P6, doing a great job so far. Alex has retired from the session in P12 on a 39.3. Alex almost certainly now out of Q2, so that's one of the NLR boys unfortunately out of this one. Love to know what happened, Alex. If you're listening to the chat or you're in touch with Harley, it'd be great to know what happened to your lap. Ebony on a lap, he's going to have a little bit of traffic up ahead. I'm just getting past it. It looks like turn 3 was what did it for Alex, and the scene of so many accidents. Turn 3, it just welcomes you to take too much speed in. Rafa has retired from the session, so has Samba. The ERT boys deciding they've done enough. We've hit the checkered flag for several drivers, so it's all about Ebony, Dylan, Jackson, where they're going to end up tonight. And Ebony, the castle, was the one that took him out. Ebony out of qualifying, out of Q2, and potentially causing a bit of a headache for the other drivers trying to finish off their laps. Dylan won't go any faster than he's been here, and so it's Michael and Jackson. Michael and Jackson, the only ones with anything to say about the end of this session. Michael straight up to pole position for Michael, a 38.0, exactly what Delta T need. They need a good strong result and some good fast drivers, and wow, brilliant one from Michael from nowhere really, as the track continues to improve for the drivers, as their driving skill continues to improve with practice on this day and these track conditions. Jackson then, it's in his power to rescue himself. He just needs to set a time really, and it needs to be under 1:39. Sparks is on the bubble. Sparks is going to be out of qualifying. He's gone through and not done a great job tonight. Jackson gets almost on terms with Sparks, but it's not enough. It looks like it's going to be Sparks, Jackson, Alex, Ebony, and I didn't see the bottom driver, I'm afraid, out of the session. Was that Dylan? Potentially. Sparks saying he had some problems with the pit exit and had an issue, but it was Michael with at the death of the session going fastest with Seeb, Isaac, Kush, Wuta, Dylan, Gary, Samba, Rex, Rafa and Mr. BT. Your order in Q2, and then sadly we lose Sparks, Jackson, Alex, Ebony and the other and the NLR car of Dylan out of the session. So that's your top 10, and these are the guys we'll be looking at. I think any of the top 10 could potentially be in the hunt for the front two rows tonight. They've all shown high and good times through this early part of the 2Q qualifying sessions, doing a great job. So we will keep watching, keep our eyes peeled. Predictions for pole, guys, times, people, drivers. Team results, what do you say? Who's got this one? Different story, Q1 and Q2, as to who had the best time. So it's really anyone's guess. Kudos if you get it in before people start their next one. Who's going to be first out though this time? Looks like it's one of the Red Bulls. In fact, it's both of the Red Bulls. It's Samba out there first, and they're again working nicely as a team. It looks like Samba will get the Samba will have to be the giver of the tow the first lap. Maybe they'll reorganize it on the second attempt. Just a 12-minute session here. Really, it's just 2 opportunities to put in your fast lap. So drivers heading out there. Funnily enough, the drivers who have teammates in this session are not necessarily going out together. The IRT team still not out, but the Relentless Mercedes have come out in separated, so have the McLarens. So it's going to be interesting to see who profits from these decisions. Samba will be hoping that that he can get a good time all on his own without need for a tow and a good banker lap. Looks like Dylan we're going to lose and retire on lap 1, so he doesn't cause an issue. That's a bit of a shame. NLR did a great job to bring themselves up in the championship after the first round. Unfortunately, it looks like they're not going to have the best opportunity to score well in our next round. So Samba about to start his first attack lap here in Q3. Everybody currently out there on soft tyres. No one fancying a run on the mediums, because this is where the points are given out. That's right, Ryan. Yeah, the NLR team racing as Aston Martin, so it will be just one Aston Martin in the race after the end of lap 1. Come what may. See how Samba is attacking this lap, taking it to every inch available of the track, right against the walls. Super aggressive, but very smooth at the same time. Not dramatic, just calmly taking the car right to the edge and then bringing it through the apexes. Wow, very, very close indeed to the to danger in turn 8. We've seen a couple of drivers get it wrong through the castle section already. I wonder how his teammate is doing behind him. We'll find out shortly. Samba will cross the beams, the timing beam, just on the braking zone for turn 16. Right here, it's a 13.4. His teammate, it's a 13.5, so not really gaining at the moment from the tow. Samba here for the elite racing team. How elite are they feeling today? We'll go towards the line of 37.943. That is quick. That's very quick indeed. What about Rafa behind? A 38.0. Super close between the two teammates there. Further down, we've got Michael, the fastest Q2 driver, about to cross the line. He gets himself a 38.0. Splits the ERT team. Relentless split them as well, a 38.071. 4 thousandths between Michael and Wuta. Gary gets a 38.9. Dylan next across the line. What's it going to be this time from Dylan? Is he going to get faster than his teammate? There's a nice big gap to fall into there. Dylan, P5, 38.189. It's not going to plan for Excel after the first runs. Mr. BT finishing his lap. Seeb, Rex about to start his lap, so he's gone for a slightly different rhythm to the other drivers. But we'll watch Mr. BT, who's the next one due to set a time here. Isaac Kush is on a lap 2, and he's next to his teammate now. The Mercedes teammates have caught up with each other, I don't know if there'll be any cooperation going on. This one not looking great from Mr. BT, a 39.129. Definitely a race, a qualifying so far of two halves. The top five very much, very, very close to each other. I mean, the blink of an eye separating P1 and P5 at the moment. Absolutely maximising it. What's Izzat Kush doing? He's actually in front of his teammate. So no tow available here. Izzat Kush about to cross the line. Rex just behind him, but not close enough, I don't think, to get any sort of help down the straight. Izzat Kush then, a 39.2, nothing particularly amazing from him this time. An invalidation from Rex for IRT, pushing too hard on this first lap out of our Q3 opportunities. We've got 5 and 3/4 minutes left in Q3, so drivers really really close to top 5, and then it's quite a difference to the next run for the drivers. 38.1 and 37.9 are the gap between the top 1 and the top first place and 5th place. Provisional pole for ERT, but Gary C, Mr. BT, Izzat Kush and Rex with quite a job to do, a long way back at the moment. So we'll have a small wait, I think, for the drivers to pick their moment to come out. I think we're going to get all action in the last few minutes of Q3, as is traditional, of course. Everybody wanting that golden moment on the track, but the traffic can often steal it from you. So sometimes it's worth getting out there ahead of the other drivers, especially for someone like Samba, who's already got the pole. He may elect to go out earlier, just so he doesn't have issues with other cars. So, like I said before, if with this lull in the action, it's time enough to go ahead and like the video. I won't keep asking if we get more of the guys on the live chat having hit the like button. We've only got 10 likes so far, guys, so come on, let's press that thumbs up, please. A reminder, you can follow me on Twitter if you want to see my race output at WeboRed5, and a bit later on Harley might well share a link to say thank you to me for my comms, because I'm the only one who who's guaranteed to not win a cash prize at the end of this championship. Dylan on his outlap, so Dylan's gone early. So has Samba, as I was just mentioning. So those guys out there. Samba not really in the mood to do the favours for his teammate, perhaps. Rafa's come out behind his teammate when perhaps he needed to be a little bit closer. Maybe they'll coordinate it now they can see they're close to each other on track. So it's going to be Dylan first, Samba next, then Rafa, Mr. BT, and I think Rex currently. The other drivers waiting, possibly for this group of drivers to pass the pit lane so they won't be in their way, or maybe they'll go very shortly and make sure that they're half a track away and can't cause any issues. Dexter cheering on the ERT team, as you'd well expect. Yeah, that's Bowers. That's kind of what Harley's going to post in a bit. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I should start a Patreon. Maybe that's a bit more appropriate than a GoFundMe. I'm not a charity case. Well, not in a literal sense, anyway. Dylan attacking. Then he'll be the first one out there. I don't think Rafa's going to be close enough to Samba to see where this goes, so bear with me while I flick between the drivers after each sector. Dylan going through turns 1 and 2, getting through safely. What about Samba? Through turn 1, he's got a car come out of the pits just ahead of him. That's a bit of a nightmare for Samba. Let's go back to Dylan and see how he's getting on. Turn 3, safely through there. Lightning joins. So expect the chat to suddenly take a trip to the filth from Lightning. Dylan, sector 1. Looking good. What about Samba? Nearly 2/10 improvement from Samba. With all respect to Dylan, it might be worth staying on here for Samba's lap. Samba through the castle section with his customary confidence. Really looking very smooth indeed so far from Samba, and he's pushing hard. Let's see, where does he feed through here as he goes towards the timing beam. 4/10 faster for Samba. Let's go back to Dylan, because there's nothing particularly to watch from him. Dylan's about nearly 1/10 faster than he's been before, and he gives it up. Sorry, Gary went out of the session, so Gary won't improve. Samba heading to the line then, currently 4/10 faster than he's been before already. A 1:37.512 for Samba. Beautiful stuff. Rafa behind him. How fast can he go? It's an invalidation for Rafa. Nothing new from him is going to result from this one. Rex going slowly. Izzat Kush getting a beautiful toe from Wuta, who's got a P3 so far. Rex about to cross the line then. Izzat Kush just behind him, up to P2 with a beautiful, perfectly timed toe. A 1.3 second improvement for Izzat Kush, a 37.8. That's exactly what he needed. What about Michael Doe, who's been very close to it tonight? No help from any drivers ahead of him on track. We've got a couple of checkered flags out there. The main checkered flag has of course dropped. Samba's at it. Samba's got pole right now, but what can Michael do? Waiting for that line to come up for him. It's a 38.3. It's not an improvement, and Michael, P3 will be where he starts this race. Samba won't be going any quicker, I don't think. What about, can we find anybody else on a lap? Wuta is on a lap. He's a little bit quicker than he's been before. This could see him closer to his teammate. Could even get past his teammate onto the front row here. Samba with provisional pole, and I think by enough of a margin. I don't think anyone's going to get there. What about Wuta though? We'll see him. Oh, Wuta just always takes so much apex through turn 15. Wuta is a 1/4 of a second faster than he's been before. He will need a mighty final sector, and all he can do is just pick his apex points for those 2 corners and wait. Wuta for Relentless. Can he pick up some more points for Relentless in this qualifying 3 session? Sees it out against the pit wall, and it's just a tiny improvement. Lost some actually in that final sector, unfortunately. Won't do any better out of this one. Everyone else in the pits all finished, and it is Samba with pole with the maximum quali points for ERT for the team. Looks like Rafa came in there, did he, at P3 right at the death of the session. Or was that Michael? I saw a blue icon. It was Rafa, did get 3rd place. So the ERT team starting 1st and 3rd. Brilliant session from ERT. Despite the other drivers doing their best here. Izzat Kush, the Korean driver, in just 3/10 of a second back, but no one was getting close to Samba tonight in that Q3 session. Wuta for Relentless, so Relentless and ERT right up there. XL leading the championship down in 6th and 8th with Dylan in front of Gary. We've got Michael in 5th for DTR, and then the Mr. BT for the Alfa Romeo CPI team, of course, and then the IRT team start 9th and 10th. Brilliant stuff. A time not set from the second IRT driver. Didn't manage to get around. Whether that was tactical to start on his Q2 tyres, I can't really think why that would be. I guess he just invalidated both of them. ERT versus Relentless, definitely going to be an interesting one, yeah. That's what Total P says. So congratulations to ERT, to Relentless for a very strong Q3. But it's all about how they can work together for the best possible team result in the race, and how they'll work their strategies. Very interesting to see how the drivers decide to split or copy each other's strategy, what they do under safety car pit opportunities, and yeah, how they help each other along the track. Whether they're going to cooperate, whether you just can't get rid of the need for rivals within your team and bragging rights. Let's have your predictions, please, guys. Which team is going to come out on top at the end of this race, and who will lead the championship? Currently, Excel lead it by 3 points from Relentless. Elite Racing Team down there in 6th place on 30 points at the moment. They need a strong result, and they've already had a good one from qualifying, of course. So the formation lap underway, and they're around the first corner already with this very small, very short run to turn 1. Should help us survive the first couple of corners without too much in the way of drama, although who knows. So out there, Samba on pole position and Rafa on the medium tyres as well. Elite really looking very strong, and they've got a great race tyre to start the race. Further down, as you'd expect, medium tyres for the majority. AK Unleaded has gone for hards from the start, so look to him to potentially lose a few places in the first lap. Isu and Joan have joined for ADRT. They're going to start on soft tyres and get right into the mix and try and get their positions as early as possible. But of course they'll be on the lead strategy. Jendrik in 18th with his teammate in 7th, AK Unleaded and Jackson 17th and 12th respectively. Then for Evora, it's Lars in 16th, Sparks in 11th. Not the best qualifying from NLR, but typically they do a lot better in the races, so race pace is a different animal, and total race time, of course, very different to how quickly you can go in qualifying. Ibani for the Williams DTR team, 14th with his teammate in 5th. I think we've talked through most of these wrecks now for IRT starting together. There's a little bit of there's an advantage there and there's a disadvantage there, and if you're going to trip over anyone, it's likely to be who you start around. So IRT needing to be careful and protect each other through the first 2 or 3 corners. Really looking forward to turn 1 and also turn 3 around here, guys. Can we see telemetry and lap data? You can. We're going to really clutter up the screen if we put all of that on, guys. I will use telemetry when I think there's a strategic point, but the rest of the time it really does clutter up the screen significantly. Drivers just getting themselves organised on the grid. Samba will start from pole on the outside on the entry into turn 1, which is difficult. Izzat Kush next to him, Rafa behind him, Wuta behind Izzat Kush, and we're about to get underway. It's the NLR Esports round 3. It's lights out. We'll have a short pause. Looks like massive drive-throughs for the ADRT team, but we're away. So ADRT getting past everybody, but it's a safe start from the Red Bulls and the Mercedes. Cautious through turn 1, as you'd expect, with so much on the line here. The leaders getting through and starting line astern. They know what it's all about. Not to push too hard. ADRT have jumped way ahead of everybody else. We'll ignore them for now. But through the first 3 corners come the cars safely. Nicely, they go through here. Relentless second and fourth effectively here, with Samba and Rafa for ERT third and fifth, but they're the net top four of our track so far, if you ignore the drive-throughs that will almost certainly have been awarded. They weren't awarded. Were they awarded? No, they weren't. Interesting. Okay, there was a slight glitch, I guess, on the restart. Izzat Kush getting by the ghost car of ADRT, just getting right in the way of everything. So Samba and Izzat Kush past those two cars now. Apologies for the confusion on track here, as the ADRT teams appear to be driving with AI. So Samba with the lead, 0.6 of a second from Izzat Kush here. You can see Izzat Kush with the opportunity for a tow, but talking of tows, Wooter's already attacking Rafa. He's on the outside. They're rubbing tyres, rubbing side pods. Wooter with the outside line into turn one. Rafa placing his car nicely, and this is a really important battle on screen right now. Wooter getting right up behind Rafa again. Rafa drifting to the middle of the track as they head towards that difficult turn 3. You can't go side by side into turn 3, and Wooter just understanding that and not attacking, but piling on the pressure. Michael making up a place against Mr. BT. Looks like it's the ADRT cars getting out of everybody's way now. Dylan P5 with Gary having a tough start further back for XL, our championship leaders, remember, but not by much from Relentless. So Relentless looking good to take up the championship leader mantle. The battle for third is Rafa from Wooter and Dylan. It's now a three-way fight, and I think Michael's got the intention to make it a four-way fight. 0.7 is the gap at the front of the field between Samba and Izzat Kush. So 0.6. These guys looking quite close though. Wooter still now below 0.3. Up ahead it's about a 0.4 gap. Will they attack into the next corner? Not for Izzat Kush, not for Wooter either. It's just not possible until you get the DRS, and Izzat Kush will have that next corner round. Half a second between Izzat Kush and the leader. Less than that here between Wooter and Rafa. The time's coming down, the gap's coming down. Will Wooter launch one into turn 3? He does not. He's going to hold on, try and run with Rafa until the next opportunity. It's going to be a difficult job indeed. So ERT very much under threat from the medium shod Relentless drivers. Sorry, yes, the soft shod Relentless drivers, who understandably have a tyre advantage at this early stage against... Whoa, around goes ERT's Rafa out of turn 7. Rafa, who's just, I think, done a reset to track. That was a very fast spin turn. If not, he's certainly disappeared off my screen. We can blame lag if we like, but Rafa down to P10. Nightmare for him, as he's now drifting round trying to get out of other people's way, and we'll head into an early pit stop. Terrible situation for Rafa. That's obviously dropped Wooter far back because he had to pause and be delayed through the corner. So Wooter, Dylan and Michael take up this battle now for third place. City quite close behind. Dylan looks like he's closing on Rafa, but it won't be particularly dramatic with that issue. We've got people spotting Sparks' pace here. Yeah, the highest, well, the second highest medium runner in P7 already. What's Izzat Kush up to? He's not close enough to Samba to make a move down here into turn 1. Neither is Dylan on Wooter. Sparks is being called out by the chat for doing as well. Yeah, confirmation there that that Rafa did a reset to track. I don't believe that's allowed. It's be a rare league race if it were allowed, in my view, but we'll have confirmation from the boss. Yeah, and Will actually confirms that it's not allowed as well. So, yeah, potential reset to track penalty coming for a time penalty potentially for Rafa. So just compounding the issue. ERT needing the points at the moment in the championship, and that's obviously not going to help the situation. Izzat Kush behind Samba. These soft tyres will be good for another couple of laps, but then the medium tyres will have the edge over them. So P12 to P9 in 1 lap for Sparks, and he's now up to P7, doing a great job for the Evora team. In fact, Lars doing a good job as well, up to P11 now. So very much focusing on race pace. Dylan's had a good start. Let's quickly have a look at the start order. So yes, Dylan up 7, Sparks up 4, Jendrik up 8. Dramas for several of the drivers though, particularly Mr. BT, Rafa, and we saw Mr. BT down to 20th, dropping 13 places from his Q1 position. Sorry, his qualifying grid order. Down into turn 1 come the leaders, and they are they're through. Pit stop from Dylan for Excel, an early pit stop potentially there, not one that that would necessarily be on target. Lap 4 on the softs, a little bit early. Maybe there was some damage to repair, but Izzat Kush still staying very close. He's going to be really chewing up these tyres, really struggling. Be telemetry if possible. Yeah, all right, then no problem. If the boss says so, that's fine. Izzat Kush 56% ERS. Samba keeping some back, again, as you would expect from a driver on medium tyres, and able to start doing some race management here. The gap's just opening a little bit. Jendrik closing on Jackson. Lars closing on Jendrik. We're going to have a little DRS train start up there for P8. Sparks now is close to Michael. We'll have a look at those drivers and see how they're getting on. Sparks having a great start. Not as good as Dylan though, up to P7. Definitely the pick of the starts for the Aston Martin. Sparks then now 3/4 of a second, make that 2/3 of a second behind as they go through here. Fast left right of 18 and 19. Actually it's a right left, no, left right is correct. Sparks then 7/10, a pit stop from Izzat Kush and Michael, just getting 5 laps out of their soft tyres, so not ideal, but Sparks promoted then to P3. He's on the same tyre strategy as Dylan and Samba, and that looks absolutely to be the right place to be. Wuta 4 seconds away from Samba, so presumably that one's going to run for a little while. Coming out of the pits though, we've got a train of drivers led by Jendrik. Not for long though. Izzat Kush getting the inside line. New tyres, diving down the inside. Beautiful move from Izzat Kush. DRS assistance, but still had to finish it on the brakes. Izzat Kush up to P6, dispatching the CPI Jendrik early on, very decisively. But Lars now having to wait behind him. These are older medium tyres for Jendrik and Lars, but Dylan trying to catch up now. Wuta staying out there, as did the AI drivers, which I will do my best to ignore the ADRT cars at the moment. Alex down to P18 for NLR. So Dylan thankfully has stayed with us. I know his session was under threat, but he's stayed, and I'm sure everyone's very glad that he has. No damage for Dylan. I don't think I was expecting there to be damage for Dylan. He's doing great. Right up there in P4. A bit further back Looks like Dylan, XL's Dylan will get DRS, get a little bit of overspeed, but not a huge amount. New medium tyres making the difference for Dylan as he gets by, but how much will the Haas driver fight? They go side by side through turn 1, but that extra grip from Dylan allows him to take that crucial few miles an hour faster through turn 1, and he comes on out there very nicely indeed. Looks like Mr. BT getting lapped here. Is that? No, it's Dylan getting through Jendrik, who was momentarily ghosting, whether that's a connection issue or not. Dylan safely getting past Jendrik, so Dylan up to P6 now. Everybody on medium tyres, but the front 4 have yet to pit, so have 7th and 8th place. No penalties to report at this stage. Safely through the castle here for Dylan. Big gap at the front there between Samba and Sparks, 7 seconds. Sparks trying to reduce that, but of course be happy with this stage of the race, now needing to preserve the tyres a little bit of management going on. That's not happening with our fresh runners, Isaac Kush particularly, who's got 0.3 of a second gap as they head on into the final sector and close out the lap with the DRS zone about to be enacted for him, and I'm sure he'll be easily past Jackson with the speed differential. Jackson going to the inside, but it was definitely all done beforehand. Isaac Kush with the fastest lap in the process on the fresh mediums, and on the attack again. Isaac Kush P3 now on lap 8. Further back, we've got some pit stops for Sieb, for Dylan. Sorry, Jendrik and Dylan have pitted. Michael closing here for the Delta T Racing. Moves to the inside against Wuta. Wuta trying to stay with him. Drivers, some great racing there. Will they give each other the same amount of room on exit? Yes, they do. Brilliant respect given on track. It's exactly what we want to see. We want to see drivers racing side by side safely with each other. Through they go yet again, and finally Wuta gets ahead, but that might not be the best place to be at the end of this lap for Wuta. They're on fairly similar strategies, and Michael not fighting it too hard, Wuta not defending too hard. They both want really strong results for very different reasons. Doing a great job so far for their respective teams. Relentless and for Delta T. Looks like a pit stop or an accident for Ebony. Potentially, I think it's an accident, some description. Getting passed over and over. It's very difficult to keep an eye on everybody's race in one go when you've got 20 runners around Azerbaijan, but Ebony, yeah, dropping down. I feel like it's quite likely to be heading into the pits. Isaac Kush, a second successive fastest lap as Michael gets on past Wuta using the DRS. Will Wuta get back under the slipstream? He's going to try. Lars dropping behind Gary into turn 1. Gary with an overtake, looks like around the outside. Ebony not in the pits currently, so maybe it was just a spin. Be unusual to spin in Azerbaijan and not end up with damage, but no, he has pitted. There we go. Ebony in the pits on his 8-lap-old mediums. Also on 8-lap old mediums, Lars in P9. We've got 8-lap-old hards for AK and Leaded, and then our 2 leaders and our 4th place driver, Samba and Sparks. Sparks has caught Samba by half a second in the last 2 laps. Isaac Kush driving incredibly quickly, as we've seen with his fastest lap attempts. Closest drivers on track at the moment. You've got this battle for 10th between Sieb and Rafa for the final championship point in the race. We've got, I think that's about it for battles that matter. No, Wuta is close behind Michael, and I think these guys are going to be battling through the whole race. It's lap 9 of 26 with ERT on top. Samba driving with Evora second and Sparks in the cockpit. Then Relentless is at Kush in third, but Samba pits here. So we'll look to see how much of an undercut he can action against Sparks. Obviously, any caution periods will get in the way of that one. Just ahead of this battle, Rafa getting by Lars as Rafa's better tyre life starting to show. So Rafa up to P9. Looks like Dylan and Jackson exchanging places. Dylan getting by that time. It's all kicking off, isn't it? One after the other. Now what's next? Is it Wouter and Michael's turn to have another go at each other? Potentially. But it looks like it's about time for the medium tyres to give up. Unless Sparks has been preserving a lot of tyre life, he might well be on his way in on this lap to stay with Samba as close as possible in strategy as the chasing driver. Be his hope, I imagine. Wouter closing. The rest of the battle's just stretching out slightly. Keep an eye on Sparks. Is he about to pit? I think he's gone on through, so he's quite happy with his tyre life at the moment. Maybe trying to go for a different strategy. A different number of stops potentially. Wouter half a second back. We'll use the DRS to close in. Just ahead we've got Jackson, might be going for a lunge. It's a little bit early for that one. What about Relentless? Is Wouter? No. So these are the two battles to watch in successive positions on the track. And Rafa, I think, getting by Gary through into turn 1. So we've got three battles in turn coming into turn 3 to keep an eye on. Jackson not this time. What about Wouter? What about Gary on Rafa? Just that tiny bit too far back. This is going to be very interesting to watch these guys. 10 laps. Sparks has kept the tyres running for those medium tyres. He wants to be stretching his gap to Samba really, but that's not happening. So Sparks in net second with Samba's pit stop having just taken place. Up ahead, everybody making it through the castle safely. We're going to have a good battle here on the way into turn 1. It's currently Wouter looking the most likely of the drivers. I think Jackson really, but making a Jackson train, yeah, a slide on the way through. Wouter going between the two of them. Wow, Wouter, you put yourself in a super vulnerable position there. Jackson really kind of holding on, and I'm not quite sure why, but the Williams staying ahead. He's going to be vulnerable down the long straight because they're so close to each other, but Wouter stuck himself in the middle, got sandwiched, ended up clattering between the two cars. We'll get DRS here as he goes for the line. I expect Jackson behind will be heading into the pits after that dodgy moment on the tyres. Yeah, there he goes. Wouter gets by into P5 and survived that treacherous few moments, managing to get now by Michael again. I think Michael and Wouter were driving sensibly and safely with each other, but throw Jackson in the mix as well, and it became a much different situation. Looks like Samba on the better tyres has just made easy work of Izakush, but I'm interested to see what Wouter and Michael are up to next, because these guys definitely racing very well indeed. Relentless is Nathan, who has had a tremendous race earlier on in our season, calling out Samba. So shots fired against ERT from Relentless, saying that Samba's messed up the strategy. A two-stop is not the way to go. Well, we'll see. We will definitely see. It all depends on the driver's mood on the day. It depends on whether they want to be aggressive and just drive at qualifying pace or near enough and just shred through the tyres, or they prefer a a more conservative approach. It depends on their comfort level on those conditions. Sparks yet to pit still, really looking after these tyres better than anybody else on the circuit, apart from maybe Lars, but of course who's a long way back. So consistent strategy for Evora tonight. They've obviously made their minds up before coming out what their target lap time is. Michael behind Wouter this time out, closing in now. Looks like it's going to be a little bit too far back as they head into turn 1. What about Seb and Rafa? I think it's a similar story, but Dylan, P10, make that P9 as he gets past Gary. Dylan, slightly younger tyres, but there's not a lot in it, so really lots of action going on up and down our grid. It looks like Jackson is going to make a move on his teammate, but that might well be fairly easy work. It looks like a fairly cooperative move there. Is Michael any closer to Wouter this time? Still half a second between them. Seb closer to Rafa again. Now we've got a four-way battle forming for P7. Sparks still out there, lap 12 on the medium tyres. Will it be hard tyres next time out for him? Lap 13, we're at the halfway distance of our race with Sparks for Evora leading Samba by just a second now. So Samba may well get by as we head towards, let's go and have a look at our battle for the lead, because it's actually happening on track instead of the pits now. Samba has been lightning quick at this stage. We're about to hit 200 comments, guys, on the live chat, so bravo to you all. Thank you for your engagement. Let's hope we can get 200 likes on the video as well. So Samba, 3 tenths, 2 tenths, close enough for an attack? Not quite. Samba not wanting to put himself in that position against Sparks. I think he might do next time round. Let's have a quick look at Michael. He's not quite close enough either. Rafa getting passed by Seb, but I want to see Samba. Oh, he's got passed on DRS. Looks like using the DRS, just waiting for the perfect opportunity. He's only got 19% ERS left, so he must have been spending a little bit there as well. Samba up to resuming the lead on lap 14, but potentially with the same amount of pit stops to make as Sparks. Now, will Samba go medium, soft, and Sparks do a medium hard run? It's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic. Yeah, looks like this strategy for Samba certainly working well at the moment. And of course, we haven't had a safety car yet in the race. I don't mean to jinx anything. I'm just making a statement of fact before I get called out on that one. Samba gapping Sparks already, and the kind of pace difference Samba's got tonight. He looked very in control in qualifying. It doesn't look like he's having any kind of dramas. He passed Sparks at a brilliant moment, absolutely the perfect opportunity. Does this change Sparks' mind in terms of strategy? Does he decide to go into pits now or run it longer? Sparks drifting back now from the back of Samba, who's got great traction out of the corners, especially the slow ones. Wouter has got by Michael. Michael closing. Not quite close enough because Wouter's got the DRS ahead of him from the back of Dylan's car. Penalties starting to be introduced into the fray now. We've got Michael on a 3-second penalty, so has Rafa, who gets passed just now by Dylan. Dylan into, well, down the back straight. No, down the start-finish straight. Dylan getting the job done. Dylan back up to P8. Again, on a good strategy tonight. I think Dylan, possibly a two-stopper. Sparks now 2.2 seconds back from Samba. Does look like Samba's pace is very good at the moment. How long will he be able to live with the car though? Of course, Samba could consolidate his lead and go onto hard tyres anyway and leave no doubt in the tyre life to the end of the race, or and potentially now he's got track position. Oh, little wiggle through the castle section in Dylan's car. He's obviously pushing hard. Wouter on the attack now, on the back of Dylan. Hasn't looked this close, and this is the ideal moment to be right there. 27% ERS for Dylan, for Wouter, sorry, against Dylan. It's not pressing the button just yet. Dylan very equal, but Wouter with the DRS open, spending a bit of ERS once that has been engaged, making light work of Dylan's car. Dylan getting back under the rear wing, but is Michael going to have a go? Very late move from Michael, getting Dylan as well. Dylan losing 2 places, but hanging on here. Can we make it through the exit of turn 2? Just about. Drivers driving with tremendous respect, given that there is cash money on the line here for the teams. That was very respectful from Michael and Dylan. Very impressed with, well, keep talking about Michael being a driver driving well with lots of respect. So, yeah, should be going very well. Oh, big moment for him there. Just a lot of opposite lock applied. That'll leave him vulnerable immediately, but should have plenty of time to recover it into the next few corners. Isaac Kush is closing also in on the back of Sparks. So this 2-stop strategies currently looking to be the way to go. Well, I don't know actually, is Relentless on a 2-stopper? I think he is. Sorry, is Isaac Kush on a 2-stopper for Relentless? You'd think not, given the earlier comment we saw. And we, one thing I hadn't been told before this, unless I missed it in one of the chats, is that we are due a wet finish to this race. Isaac Kush gets by for P2. Sparks, is he making this opportunity to pit? Yes, he is. A pit stop for Sparks on lap 15, making those medium tyres last longer than anybody else. Sparks, will this be potentially, he could go on softs for a quick run before needing to pit for wet tyres? Yes, Sparks onto soft tyres. So definitely going to be a car to watch over the next couple of laps and see how he attacks the race. Jackson closing in on the back of Lars again. Jackson on just 3-lap-old mediums, with Lars similarly making the tyres last like Sparks did. Jackson on the way into the pits, actually before, it's a safety car announced. I don't see, it was AK Unleaded has dropped out of the circuit, trying to make those tyres last just a little bit too long, so safety car deployed just after Sparks' pit stop. Very interesting timing for our race. Sparks on fresh soft tyres, and it started to rain. Can anyone confirm that? I'm sure, yes, there are the raindrops. So what is this going to happen here? We've got rain. Does that mean that people are going to use this opportunity for intermediate? Yes, Seeb, Gary, Alex, Jackson and Mr. BT have been the first ones to put inters on. They obviously spotted the rain early enough to tell Jeff to get the tyres ready for them. And very, very interesting situation. Sparks isn't going to gain out of that run. How heavy is the rain going to fall? Can the drivers live with it on fresh, dry tyres after this one? This is absolutely not what Sparks wanted to see. He wanted a few laps on the soft tyres to enjoy the pace they were going to give. Yeah, here in comes Samba. By the time the cars have caught up with each other under the safety car, we could well end up in fully intermediate conditions. Samba in, Isaac Kush in, Wouter I'm sure will follow suit. In he comes Michael, Dylan, Sparks. Does he gamble? No, Sparks. Not impressed to see that safety car come out just at the wrong moment for him. He could have done with a lap or two on soft tyres to catch back up to Samba. Will we get much in the way of stacking going on? The Relentless team will certainly be stacked for a moment, but it hasn't cost Wouter too much. He was sufficiently far back from his teammate. Oh, massive lockup for Seeb on the way into turn 1, trying to get past the pitting drivers. Seeb up to P8. Sparks holding on to P6 at the moment, but yeah, that moment really didn't work out for Sparks there. Very brave for the drivers going on to inters as early as they did with just a few spots of rain coming on. They're going to need to be very careful because there's not enough water on the track to keep those inters cool enough at this stage. You can still see the tyre markings from the dry running we've had. So on lap 18 of 26, it's ERT leading with Samba in P1. ERT's Rafa is in P10. Then the Relentless first car in second is at Kush, and fifth Wuta. Then the Delta T Racing's Michael rides in P3. His teammate out of the race, Ebony, disqualified. Presumably that was some issue in the pit lane because he managed to get inters on and has now been disqualified. Often that's stopping or crashing on the pit entry that does that one. Gary jumped Rafa in the pits as well, I've been told. Thanks for the info, great stuff. XL, championship leaders currently. Just ahead of Relentless, but XL in 4th and 9th with Dylan and Gary. We've got Sparks there for Evora. Sparks collecting the majority of Evora's points at this stage of the championship. Sparks in 6th and his teammate in 12th. Then NLR's Dylan is in 7th place with Alex in 11th. So a really good race turnaround from qualifying for NLR so far. Really very level situation for the drivers here, who of course they will restart here when the safety car comes in, and all be on a very similar situation. Still, I was going to say something about the ADRT team, but I shouldn't really, because they're driving on AI, and the AI has decided it's not wet enough yet. It's very interesting because the rain hasn't picked up any differently, but there will be sections of the track that are much wetter than others, so that's definitely going to be. You can still see the lens flare coming through there on board with Dylan. Just to finish off the grid order then, IRT in the Alpine are 8th with Sieb and 16th with Rex. We talked about Gary, Rafa and Alex. Lars in 12th. Jackson, the lone Ferrari, in 13th place. CPI are in 14th and 15th next to each other, Mr. BT and Jendrik. And that is the end of our human runners, with Rex at the back at the moment, but looking to make up some positions. The field is going to condense. We are going to have 6 or 7 racing laps to the end of this one. Anybody's guess, really. Samba's looked very good in the dry. Will he continue to look good in the wet? I don't know the driver well enough to make a comment on that. It does look like the rain's starting to worsen now. Let's have a look from the perspective of Samba here. Some of the track looking a little bit more opaque than before. So yeah, looks like it was definitely the correct decision for everybody to go on these intermediate tyres. The field haven't fully condensed under the safety car. I hope we will still be able to get underway for you for a 7-lap run, but if they don't catch within the next few meters, the lights will not go out of the safety car. Just looking at the gaps at the moment, we can have a fairly late decision for the safety car here. But a sprint at the end of an esports race can definitely breed trouble. Safety cars breed trouble at the best of times, the best of times, but at the end of a race on wet tyres could be pretty exciting to finish this one out. So stay with us. Let me have your predictions. The safety car will stay out this time, so there's time enough to exit the live chat and press the like button for us. I'm sure you've been enjoying this one. Very exciting to finish off our round 3. A reminder that XL lead the championship at the moment from Relentless. Looks to be on the change. It looks like ERT are going to take a big jump up the championship order. Not much spray coming off the cars at the moment, but the raindrops starting to settle on the halo here on board with Michael. So we will hopefully see a 6-lap sprint at the end. Let's hope the drivers don't behave as if it's a 5-lapper. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that on late race restarts. Izetkush with a fairly poor connection rating at the moment. That could be an issue as the cars start to battle each other. Again, not a lot of spray. The rain not very heavy. Do wonder if anyone will decide that the Inter isn't the right tyre to be on and take a gamble. If you're outside of the points, why not? Why not give it a go? Can only hope that the AlphaTauri cars don't interfere with the restart, as they did with the main start of the race. Penalties to take into account while we are just about to finish off this lap. 3 seconds each for Michael, Rafa and Rex, and it's the worst news for those guys who will see a safety car, and Michael potentially will drop back significantly unless he can gap sufficiently the drivers behind. Wouter's got a bit of a gap here. He's just closing it up, looking to make a good restart. Wonder who's going to get the attack on first on this restart. Safety car will come in this lap. It's got ahead of the drivers. It's down to Samba to decide when to launch the car. It could be at any point here between here and the start-finish line. Samba waiting. The car's starting to get into IndyCar side-by-side formation. Oh, Samba, you can't change your speed like this. We're going to end up with accidents. Watch out for warnings. Watch out for collision penalties. And they go now. And Samba gets away from the car. Behind him is Izetkush. Dylan timing that one pretty well. And they race down to turn 1. Dylan trying to sweep past the outside of Michael, who gets hit and gets turned round, fighting too hard, unfortunately for Michael, all the way down there, and that's going to ruin his race. Looks like Sparks has had a massive drama as Dylan hits the wall and wipes out his tyre. Rafa goes out from the session with a DNF. Sparks down there in P16 from P6 with a problem for Dylan, who has had front wing damage after a tremendously successful race. Can't get the car round turn 3, needs to do a turn in the road, a little reverse moment, and Dylan, from a terrific race, he stuck with it so much and it just hasn't worked. Jendrik hits the wall battling with Lars, and exactly what we'd feared is taking place. Driver's mentality going out the window as they desperately want to get a good result out of this one, and they want to make a difference while the cars are close together. No patience going on in this one. 0.6 of a second is the gap at the lead. Samba from Izetkush. Sieb is close behind Gary, as you can see. Lars getting by as Mr. BT has got problems in the castle section and getting passed by many cars. He's down now even behind one of the AlphaTauris. Izetkush 0.6 back. Wouter 0.4 back from Dylan as he almost backs the car through the turn 15. We're into 16 now. There won't be any DRS under the wet conditions. Sieb behind, only 0.3. There's going to be 3 or 4 opportunities for cars getting by one another as Jendrik into the turn 16 corner gets up the inside of Lars. Michael does the same, and we head down to the start-finish straight as now Wouter behind Dylan is getting past. He's going to have to do it on the brakes because the overspeed won't be there. Izetkush 0.4 doesn't make a move. What about the other relentless car? Down the XL car of Dylan tries to sweep round the outside, does it, and they manage to survive turn 1 without an accident. Sieb getting past Gary there into P5. Relentless looking like they living up to their name as they finish the race strong, stronger than anybody else it seems at the moment. Certainly on for the best team result so far in this race. Wouter very close, 1/4 of a second back. Izetkush only 1/2 a second behind Samba. I don't know what went on with Sparks and Dylan. Just saw the back end of that accident for Dylan. Lots of support coming in from the boss for Alex. who can try and get a good result out of this one. It does look like the rain is continuing to fall at a similar rate, and the track still driving fairly quickly. Going to be difficult though when the cars get into these slow corners with narrow walls to keep control and predict the grip in front of them. So far Dylan just getting up to P14 now. A 5-second penalty for Jackson, I wonder if and for Jendrick. I wonder if that was under the safety car conditions. Not a super professional restart from Samba, causing issues behind the grid. And we get another safety car as who have we got going slowly out there? I think everybody has caught back up, but the safety car is out. It's Mr. BT. Looks like Mr. BT was slow as he got damage on the car. I can't see anything. Sparks surviving. Again, this could be another reset moment for the drivers. Do anybody fancy a change of tyre or damage repair? But we're going to have a second safety car right at the death of this race, and it'll be all action again. I better get a drink because I'm going to destroy my throat. Lap 22 of 26, we have our second safety car period. Hopefully it won't take long for the cars to catch up with each other again. Sparks pretty depressed at the moment, as you can expect in the chat. He's said why is it always him? So unfortunate, and hopefully he can come back strong. It looks like an opportunity for the cars to get some damage repaired. No one going into the pits at the moment. IRT's Seeb gets a drive-through penalty for overspeed during the safety car period, and that's very unlucky to catch that one. Drive-through penalty for Seeb there. 17 runners despite the second safety car now coming out, but it's going to be carnage on the second restart with now just presumably 2 laps to run. Breathless, absolutely breathless finish to the race. So remember those penalties. I'm going to keep the penalties up because frankly that's what really matters when it comes down to it, now that all the cars are on the same tyre. Intervals as well. Let's see who got the fastest lap. It's Samba, predictably enough. A 40.280 is a second faster than anybody else on track. So Samba, despite not using soft tyres tonight, with the medium inter strategy, tremendous pace in Samba tonight. Pole position looking like a fairly likely win. No guarantees though, as we've seen already. Very easy for drivers to fall off the circuit and lose parts of the car. Look at the gap, the field spread after those restart dramas. The front, how many cars are we looking at here? Front 10 cars all close together, and then the back 7 very far apart from one another. I think Sparks has got some damage. He's very far away from the rest of the field. I think may have some irreparable damage. Yeah, question being asked, who's going to be brave? Well, the thing is, there are points on offer. That's one of the reasons why things go wrong at the back of the grid, because people try and dive bomb because they've got nothing to lose at this point in the race. And everybody keen to get good points for the team. CPI not having a good race with both drivers down there out of the points. Likewise, after Michael's drama with the Williams team, the Delta T Racing, Evora, it's not looking great either. Double non-finish, double non-points finish, sorry. Looking quite likely here. through the castle. You can still see the sun reflecting off the rain on the circuit, so it's far from full wet conditions. Will the safety car come in this lap? Surely it has to. I have seen a single lap of Spa restart, but so I'm assuming it's done on distance rather than number of laps to go, but usually you'd see it coming in on the with 2 laps to go. We get that announcement now. Yes, great stuff. We get going now. Let's see this race out. Samba from Isaac-Kush, Dylan and Wuta, then Sieb with a drive through to serve. So Gary, Alex, Jackson, Joan and Rex looking to make up a place that could well promote Lars up into the final championship point of the evening. Cars just condensing. Will Samba be a little bit smoother this time and just make one lurch forward? Let's hope so. A little bit of weaving, dangerous stuff under these conditions. Much better to try and make this work. Will Sieb decide to go in the pits here, because he can do his drive through at this point if he wants to. Samba still hasn't gone. When will it be? Now, and looks like Dylan predicted that one quite nicely. Sieb is staying out for this lap and we'll get right into the mix. Dylan getting down the inside, both relentless Mercedes being boxed out of being able to take their ideal line. It's the battle continues between Dylan and the Mercedes. They touch, and Isaac-Kush with a better run on the traction zone. Sieb getting right into this one. Sieb, don't cause an accident and then go in a drive-through. That's not going to make you very popular. That goes down the inside of turn 3. Again, a bang of wheels. Looks like the Mercedes of Wuta trying to take advantage of these guys. How are they going to get through here safely? Turn 4 is navigated with a degree of safety at least. Michael's dropping down the order and has potentially had a problem further back. But we'll focus on this battle. Of course, this just feeding into Samba's hands. The second and third and fourth place drivers just battling with each other. Sieb gets by into third place, and as I say, has a drive through to serve, although he may decide to argue that one later and try and get it on track. Result, a hit of the wall from Dylan into the castle, clatters his front right, and will that have caused some damage? Presumably at least a little bit of front wing has broken off. A yellow flag in sector 2, it looks like. Is that it's Lars out of the race right in the middle of the castle. Lars out on lap 25 of 26. 1 and a little bit flying laps left to run. This is the real battle on screen right now, is the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. It looks like Samba's checked out. Isaac-Kush likewise with a 1 second gap. It's closing down, but Sieb may have to serve a drive through either now or after the race, and that's actually a disqualification if you do that. Disappointment to see Dylan touch the wall from Ivor, but it's very easily done. Let's not be too hard on him. Sieb has pitted for that drive through, so doesn't want to fight it afterwards. Looks like a problem for the relentless car of Wuta doing a Lewis Hamilton into turn 1 in Baku, running very wide. I wonder if he hit brake magic and demoted down the field. That promotes Alex and Gary up there to 4th and 5th, and we still doing battle on the way into turn 3 with the Alpine trying to take the Haas of Sparks going around the outside. Sparks recovering points out of this race from nowhere, absolutely nowhere. It looks like we're doing tremendous stuff here from the drivers, as Alex half a second off the XL car in front of him. No penalties in the top 5. That should make life a little bit easier as we finish off the race. Jackson's got one, so that will help promote Sparks. He doesn't have to fight that one too hard. Samba has made a mistake. Samba, wow, from the lead of the race in the castle, wiped out, takes out his front wing. How much can he hang on to this one? Isaac-Kush can't believe his luck, as the relentless team are going to finish this one off. If he can get through the next 2 braking zones, Isaac-Kush will have this one. Samba with a destroyed front wing. How can he even get through the turn 15? It's almost impossible. Can he hold on to the gap that he's got at the moment? He's got no option but to try, as I can't believe we've seen Samba lose the car and lose the front wing. What on earth just happened? Isaac Kush has got nothing to do now, just pointing the car in the right direction. How slow is Samba going to be? Will the lack of front wing help him in terms of end speed? The front wing's just reappeared on the car using the helicopter view, but he is slow. Isaac Kush wins in Baku for Relentless. Samba is going to try and hold on. Will he hold on to the line? Yes, he does by 1/10. Samba second place with a 3rd and 4th place finish for XL with the top team result for XL. And how did NLR do it? P5 and 6 with Alex and Dylan. Amazing stuff at the death. What on earth just went on? If the early restart didn't do my throat in, this one definitely has. Driver of the day goes to Dylan, unsurprisingly, in the Aston Martin. But what did we just see, guys? What did we just see at the death? Isaac Kush perhaps not expecting to be on the podium with that dance. That's unfortunate to leave that one in there. Dexter says, what a finish. It certainly was, and that's very sporting of him to say so. Well, I hope someone makes a clip of that one and we can share it around, because that restart as a YouTube short would be something special. Isaac Kush takes the win. Samba just held on to the magically reappearing front wing at the death of the session. And what a result there for the McLarens as well. Isaac Kush takes the win with from second on the grid. Samba fastest lap and a second place for ERT. Again, we'll give you the final team standings after the broadcast, and we'll announce them on socials. But it's Dylan and Gary in 3rd and 4th, then Alex and Dylan for LNR in 5th and 6th. Then Rex, Jackson and Sparks got 2 points out of tonight, with Jendrick the final point sitter. Wouter, Michael, Sieb were 11th, 12th and 13th, and then we lost, unfortunately, Mr. BT, Lars, Rafa, Ebony and AK Unleaded. That one was properly incredible. Sparks got demoted by the game, says Ryan, so something to investigate later on. I can absolutely expect there might well be some steward inquiries towards the end of this race. What on earth just went on, guys? It's been an absolute pleasure. We've really enjoyed it. It was worth waiting for, wasn't it? We'll try. We've just hit 300 comments on this one, so thank you very much to all of that. Reminder, please follow neverlastracing on socials. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video before you disappear on us. Really, really helps with what we're trying to do with all these broadcasts. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you so much to Harley for making this championship and for providing for us in terms of loading up everything 3 times tonight, but it was well worth the wait. Thanks to everyone for watching and enjoying the stream with us tonight. Really appreciated everybody tuning in. If you like the commentary, you can follow me on Twitter at WebberRed5. Harley's been kind enough to drop in a link for a place to send a thank you for the commentary. But apart from that, guys, take a look on the socials this week. I'm sure everyone will be bragging about their results if they scored well. So look out for XL and NLR's socials this week, I'm sure. Yeah, great one. Thanks a lot. Share the video, and I will catch you on the next race day.